Emergency Preparedness Plan. In 2017, CMS, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, implemented a new regulation to ensure all agencies that participate in the Medicare program ensure safety for all patients served and team members working for assigned agencies. The purpose of the Emergency Preparedness Plan is to continue providing quality care to clients of the Wesley Life Home Health and Hospice service lines during times of major emergencies and/or disasters, or when such events are reasonably believed to be pending, by maintaining close coordination with local emergency response organizations on an ongoing basis. An emergency plan has been created that identifies the following: a command center team members, emergency response teams, evacuations, loss of critical systems and backup, procedures for patient and team member safety, agency vulnerability regarding various natural disasters and major emergencies. What may classify as a natural disaster? A wildfire, tornado, flooding, earthquake, severe winter weather, extreme heat, and severe spring weather. What may classify as a man-made disaster? Electrical power outage caused by man or natural disaster, a bomb threat, an active shooter, hazardous material spills or release, a war or a riot, and loss of communications and technological failures. How does Wesley Life identify their risk in a disaster or emergency? The agency director completes a hazard vulnerability assessment. The hazard vulnerability assessment was completed at the initiation of the Emergency Preparedness Plan and is reviewed and updated annually thereafter and as needed. What is Wesley Life Hospice and Home Health most at risk for? An earthquake, technological breakdown, severe winter weather, and severe spring weather. Earthquake. Iowa is not on a major fault line and not at great risk for seismic activity. However, our potential exists, and as an agency, we are not experienced in how to handle what could occur if an earthquake were to happen. Technological breakdown. Home health and hospice are highly reliant on electronic communication among team members and patients. Most of our documentation is completed electronically. Most all communication is completed via email, phone, text, or fax. Severe winter weather. In Iowa, we can experience an array of severe winter weather. Weather can change frequently and for the worse, so we always need to be prepared to adapt to our ever-changing weather pattern. I will pause so you may read the definitions on the slide. Severe spring weather. In Iowa, we can experience an array of severe spring weather. Weather can change frequently, especially during the heating of the day, and sometimes this is for the worse. We always need to be prepared to adapt to our ever-changing weather patterns. I will pause so you may read the definitions on the slide. In the event of a major emergency or natural disaster, a command center will be set up. The purpose of the command center is to be the hub of information and support. The primary command center is located at 5508 Northwest 88th Street in Johnston, Iowa. This is the Network Support Center. A secondary command center will be located at 944 18th Street, Des Moines, Iowa. The secondary command center will be utilized if the primary command center is compromised. If the secondary command center is also compromised, another command center will be identified by the command manager and communicated to the team members. Assigned roles during an emergency. Designated Incident Command Manager and Community Spokesperson. Succession Incident Command Manager, Healthcare Manager, Information Manager, and Physician First Responder. The Designated Incident Command Manager and Community Spokesperson. This person initiates the emergency plan in the event of a major emergency or natural disaster. They manage the overall response and communications with the external community. This is the Executive Director, Leanne Thrapp. Succession Incident Command Manager initiates the emergency plan in the event of a major emergency or natural disaster in the absence of the command manager. Responsible for incident command in the event the initial designee is unable to assume responsibility. Responsible for notifying community resources, projects short and long-term needs for recovery. Directs and carries out the initial response functions, including delegation of other functions. Tracks all activities and costs, including ensuring there are safe backup copies of the organization's documents. This is the agency director. For home health, Laura Smith. For hospice, Ari Baker. The healthcare manager. This person acquires resources needed for operations to ensure the safety of clients and team members. This is assigned to the agency clinical manager or supervisor. For home health, this is assigned to Julie Sweat, Anita Hoke, Lynette McKay, and Maggie Carnes in their respective assigned areas. And for hospice, this is Rebecca Wiedemeyer. Information manager. This person gathers facts and provides information on the status of the disaster or emergency situation. For home health and hospice, this is Amy Dombrowski. Physician First Responder. This person provides and oversees health care provided to clients, team members, and other victims. For home health and hospice, this would be the emergency response system, and we would call 911. To better prepare our team members so they are ready in the event of a major emergency or natural disaster, we have written procedures to ensure our patients and team members are safe and know what to do in various situations. Here is a list of procedures written for the emergency preparedness plan. I will pause so you may read the list. Planning starts at admission. Emergency preparedness should take place at admission and ongoing at every visit. In order to ensure our patients are safe during a major emergency or natural disaster, the registered nurse or appropriate clinician completing the initial admission visit and assessment will ensure the patient and the patient's responsible party have received education on the following: having an emergency kit for the home, having emergency shelter supplies, having an emergency family plan, an emergency evacuation plan, and then what to do in the event of an emergency. An emergency kit in the home should include battery-powered radio, lamps and flashlights, extra batteries, food that you don't have to cook, a manual can opener, utensils, cups, and plates, medications, extra blankets, water in a clean milk or soda bottle, rock salt or sand for walkways, and extra fuels. Emergency shelter supplies. We should have a 2-week supply of medications, medical supplies and oxygen, wheelchair walker or cane, special dietary foods or a can opener, air mattress, cot and bedding, lightweight folding chair, extra clothing, hygiene items and glasses, important papers, a valid ID with current name and address, their home health and hospice folder. As a special note, most shelters have electric power from a generator, so bring electrical medical devices. And pets are usually not allowed in shelters. Emergency family plan. Identify a meeting place for all family members both inside and outside of the home. Where will the patient be evacuated to in the event evacuation is required? Who will provide the evacuation transportation, both in emergency and non-emergency events? And notification to the providing home health or hospice agency. Location of emergency home kit and emergency shelter kit, and location of written family emergency plan. Emergency evacuation plan. Location to evacuate in the event of a major emergency or natural disaster. Transportation needs. Emergency contacts for patients to contact in the event of an evacuation need. Phone numbers to contact local emergency medical services. Phone numbers for home health and hospice after hours and business hours. And contact information for the attending primary physician. How should the patient seek updates? We should educate our patients to watch TV, listen to the radio, or check the internet for official news. And we should also educate our patients to follow instructions for all watches and warnings if resides are located in warned areas. Active shooter. Always plan for the potential of a shooter in the field and in the home office location. Know the quickest escape path or identify places you can hide. Understand the plans for individuals with disabilities or other access and functional needs. During an active shooting, get away from the shooter. This is top priority. Leave belongings and get away. Help others escape if possible. Warn and prevent individuals from entering an area where the active shooter may be. Call 911 when you are safe and describe shooter, location, and weapons. If unable to escape, get out of the shooter's view. Stay quiet. Silence all devices on you, including vibrate mode. Lock and block all doors and turn off lights. After a shooting, stay in place until law enforcement gives you the all clear. Keep hands visible and empty. Follow law enforcement instructions. Seek and or participate in employer-offered recovery assistance. Bomb threats. Bomb threat. A threat, usually verbal or written, to detonate an explosive to cause property damage, death, or injuries, whether or not such a device actually exists. If receiving a bomb threat, you should remain calm, get as much information from the caller as possible. Keep the caller on the line and record or document everything that is said. Notify the executive director and our available leadership immediately. Designate someone to notify the police. Understand what should trigger suspicion in packages and letters. No return address and one that doesn't match the postmark or can't be verified as legitimate. Inappropriate or unusual labeling, such as threatening language. Protruding wires or aluminum foil, strange odors or stains. Unusual weight given their size or are lopsided or oddly shaped. During an explosion, get under a sturdy table or desk if things are falling around you. Once items stop falling, leave quickly. Stay low if there is smoke. Do not stop to retrieve personal items. Check for fire and other hazards. Once outside, do not stand in front of windows, glass doors, or other potentially hazardous areas. If trapped in debris, use something to make light, such as a flashlight or phone. Make noise or tap on items to signal your location. After an explosion, cooperate with law enforcement. Bioterrorism threats. Biological attack, the deliberate release of germs or other biological substances that can make you sick. Biologic agents, organisms or toxins that can kill or incapacitate people, livestock, and crops. HEPA, high efficiency particulate air filter. During the initial home assessment, the admitting clinician will provide education to the patient and family to include having a HEPA filter on their furnace, having an emergency family plan in place, having an emergency supply kit available, educate our patients to call 911 in the event of a bioterrorism threat for emergency evacuation, and an evacuation plan to be documented in the electronic medical record. What should the patient and family do? Watch TV, listen to the radio, or check the internet for official news and information, including signs and symptoms of the disease, areas in danger, or if medications or vaccinations are being distributed, and where they should seek medical attention if the patient becomes ill. Cover their mouth or nose with layers of fabric to filter the air, or wear a face mask. If exposed to an agent, follow instructions received by EMS, contact authorities, and seek medical assistance. What should a Wesley Life team member do if present during an attack? Follow previous steps and ensure patient safety. Do not leave the patient until alternate appropriate level of care needs are met. Notify the office and complete proper hand washing if applicable. What to do after an attack? Pay close attention to all official warnings and follow instructions on how to proceed. War power plant emergency. During the initial home assessment, the admitting clinician will provide education to the patient and family to include assess for an emergency supply kit, assess that a family emergency plan has been developed, inquire to a location of fallout shelters nearby, assess for disaster supplies for up to 2 weeks, educate to have available, educate to call 911 in the event of a war or power plant emergency for emergency evacuation, and an evacuation plan to be documented in the electronic medical record. What should the patient or family do? In the event of a power plant releasing radiation, local authorities would activate warning sirens or another approved alert method, such as emergency alert system. Follow EAS instructions carefully. Minimize exposure by increasing distance from the radiation source. If advised to evacuate, keep car windows and vents closed. Use recirculating air. If advised to remain indoors, turn off the air conditioner, ventilation fans, furnace, and other air intakes. Go to a basement or other underground area if possible. Stay out of the incident zone. What to do after a nuclear power plant emergency? Go to a designated public shelter if you have been told to evacuate or you feel it is unsafe to remain in your home. Text SHELTER plus your zip code to 43362 to find the nearest shelter in your area. Act quickly if you have come into contact with or have been exposed to hazardous radiation. Follow decontamination instructions from local authorities. Change your clothes and shoes, put exposed clothing in a plastic bag, seal it, and place it out of the way. Seek medical treatment for unusual symptoms such as nausea as soon as possible. Listen to the local radio or television stations for the latest emergency information. Return home only when authorities say it is safe. Keep food in covered containers or in the refrigerator. What should a Wesley Life team member do if present during a war or power plant emergency? Follow previous steps and ensure patient safety. Do not leave the patient until alternate appropriate level of care needs are met. Notify the office. What to do after an attack? Pay close attention to all official warnings and follow instructions on how to proceed. Discontinuation of water supply. The agency director will determine the cause of water disruption and inquire to the probable length of disruption. Water will be brought in and dispensed as needed to patients that identify they need clean water. Extreme heat. I will pause and allow you to read the following definitions. During the initial home assessment, the admitting clinician will provide education to the patient and family to include checking to see if the patient has a properly working cooling system, educate the patient on the importance of proper insulation and weather stripping around doors and window sills. This will help keep cool air inside. Educate the patient on use of window air conditioners. Educate the patient on the importance of proper maintenance of cooling systems. Assess for medical conditions that can exacerbate during extreme heat. Call 911 in the event of an extreme heat warning for emergency evacuation. And evacuation plans documented in the electronic medical record. Stay indoors as much as possible. Limit exposure to the sun. Drink plenty of fluids and replace salts and minerals unless contraindicated. Closely monitor local radio, TV stations, or a weather radio for updates. Dress in loose-fitting, lightweight, and light-colored clothes and cover as much skin as possible. Protect face and head by wearing a wide-brimmed hat and spend time in air-conditioned places. What should a Wesley Life team member do if present during an extreme heat warning? Monitor the patient for adverse effects related to the heat. Ensure cooling units are working properly. Provide patient with cooling center numbers. Ensure the patient has adequate fluids. Ensure the patient's emergency preparedness kit is up to date and ready in the event of an evacuation. Wesley Life participates in heat advisory updates from the Polk County Health Department. We will receive updates when a heat advisory is warned, and this information will be pushed out to the team members through the agency clinical manager or supervisor. Cooling center information can be obtained by calling 211. Flood safety. I will pause so you may read the definitions on the slide. During the initial home assessment, the admitting clinician will provide education to the patient and family to include presence of higher level than ground level in the event of a flash flood, presence of a TV, radio, or weather radio to provide patient of flood watches and warnings, flood hazards related to medical equipment or supplies, the patient's ability to summon emergency assistance. Call 911 in the event of a flash flood plan emergency for emergency evacuation, and an evacuation plan to be documented in the electronic medical record. Basic safety tips. Turn around, don't drown. Do not walk or drive through flooded areas. A mere 6 inches of fast-moving flood water can knock over an adult. It takes just 12 inches of rushing water to carry away a small car, while 2 feet of rushing water can carry away most vehicles. It is never safe to drive or walk into floodwaters. Driving and vehicle evacuation. Do not drive over bridges that are over fast-moving floodwaters. Floodwaters can scour foundation material from around the footings and make the bridge unstable. If there is a chance of flash flooding, move immediately to higher ground. Be alert and observant for fallen trees, live wires, and washed out roads. If there is a chance of flash flooding, move immediately to higher ground. What should patients or family members do in the event of a flood watch? Turn on the TV or radio to receive the latest weather updates. Know where to go. You may need to reach higher ground quickly and on foot. Refer to the emergency plan initiated at initial admission. Build or restock your emergency preparedness kit. Include a flashlight, batteries, cash, and first aid supplies, durable medical equipment, 2 weeks worth of medication, wound care supplies as indicated, IV infusion supplies as indicated, 2 gallons of water, and non-perishable food such as granola bars. Disconnect electrical appliances and do not touch electrical equipment if you are wet or standing in water. You could be electrocuted. If instructed, turn off your gas and electricity at the main switch or valve. This helps prevent fires and explosions. What should patients or family members do in the event of a flood warning? Move immediately to higher ground or stay on high ground. Evacuate if directed. Avoid walking or driving through floodwaters. Turn around, don't drown. What should our patients do after a flood? Return home only when authorities say it is safe. If assistance to return home is needed, assistance will be provided by Wesley Life Home Health and hospice transfer partners. Be aware of areas where floodwaters have receded and watch out for debris. Floodwaters often erode roads and walkways. Do not attempt to drive through areas that are still flooded. Avoid standing water as it may be electrically charged from underground or down power lines. What should a Wesley Life team member do if present during a flood? Turn on the TV or radio so the patient will receive the latest weather updates and emergency instructions. Remind or educate the patient on locations of higher ground. Ensure the patient's emergency preparedness kit is up to date and ready in the event of an evacuation. Ensure electrical appliances are disconnected that are not required for patient safety. What should a Wesley Life team member do if present during a flood warning? Ensure the patient is immediately evacuated to higher ground or a safe, predetermined location. Do not walk or drive through floodwaters. Stay calm, don't panic. Remain with the patient and family or caregiver until proper evacuation is completed, and notify the office. Severe spring weather, tornadoes, thunder, lightning storms. I will pause so you may read the definitions on the slide.